In this video, we're going to do 8.06 tracker. All right, so I already have the file downloaded and opened up in DrRacket. So this problem has one problem only. All right, so it says design your world program that displays the mouse X and Y coordinates at the position wherever the mouse is. So if the mouse moves, the coordinate moves along with the position of the text itself. Call your data definition point. It should look like the following image. All right, so it should look something like, if we go to that URL, so we can see that this point where the mouse is as 27 and 78, and that is also where the text is rendered. So let me show you a more interactive version of this. So if I just run the solution, right, as I move my mouse, the coordinate is moving where it's starting to draw where the mouse is itself, and we can see the numbers changing. So going up here is roughly like way over there is 0, 0, and we can, let's see, approximate the width and height. That's, looks like 400. Maybe a 400 by 400 in this example program, right? The solution program. All right, so let's get started. So pause video, try to work through the solution you're on. I'm gonna go with spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it. So as always, follow the htdw recipe right over here. So you gotta sketch things out and then build the actual program. So 2 steps. So here is my domain analysis. We need the width as a constant, the height, the background, the text size, right, of the X and Y, and then the text color. So as you can see, the mouse is here. It's going to spit out the X and a Y. And then over here, that looks like 5, 5. And over here, that's like the max width and the max height, whatever those numbers we choose are. Changing the changing information is X and Y. And we're going to need on mouse and to draw. So we won't need on tick for this problem. All right, so let's just start transcribing the constants from our analysis. So we'll do 500, 500. All right, what else was there? The background, so define bg empty scene with height. What else? Text size, so define text size. We'll make that, something like 24, because, it's a little small to see in the recording. And then define text color, which is going to be black. All right. So those should be all the constants. Well, we might find more as we program on and on. But now let's move on to data. So pause the video and try to work through this step on your own. All right. So I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it. I'm going to go over spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right. So we're going to have to call it point, right? Because it says call your data definition point. So let's just do that. All right. So here we go. It's going to be define struct, the name of the structure, and then the components. So in this case, the mouse coordinate, right, is a point that has an X and a Y position, right? So it's going to have an X and a Y, and it's going to be point is make point of any number. So let's see, number, right? Points can be negative. I guess in this problem, they're never going to be negative, but yeah, actually, they actually can. So we're just going to leave it as number. You can, make it a natural if you want. Next is the interpretation. So X is the horizontal position in pixels. All right. And then same with the Y position, like so. All right. So next, let me just check myself off. So data description, interpretation. Let's write out these signatures. So we get the functions for free, right? That they come with the structure definition over here. So point-x consumes a point and produces a number, and same with the Y position, like so. All right, next are some examples. All right, so let's make a point P0, make point 0, 0. Let's make one more. So P1 is going to be make point, let's say, 100 and then, 20, let's make it like 43. All right, so those should serve enough as examples. Let's move on. So next is the function template that processes this data. All right, so any function that consumes a point, right, we call it PT, it probably wants to take apart the points into its constituent pieces, right? We want to get the X of the given point out and then the Y of the given point out. All right, and we're going to use this as a foundation for the future functions. All right. So now let's move on to functions. That is all the data step done. Mark myself done for that. All right, so functions. So signature, purpose, stub, examples. So let's identify our big bang options first. So we won't need stop when because we're not going to stop the program on any condition. We won't need on key because we're not using keyboard presses. We will need on mouse. And we're going to map that to the handle mouse function that we'll grab soon. This world state is going to be point now. So let's just do that. Point. So up, WS. And then this is going to be point. So let's just replace and make these signatures more valid. I don't want it there. So I'll just do this like so. Up. Maybe it's, there we go. There we go. Like so. The replace button is probably a little faster here. Next. Replace. There we go. All right. And we also won't need the talk function actually either, because nothing's updating for time. We only need it to update when the mouse moves. All right, so pause the video and try to work through the handle mouse function. So we won't need this talk over here either. All right, so anyways, again, pause the video and try to work through the solution on your own. You may need to visit the website to grab the handle mouse template. All right, anywho, I'm gonna go to spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it. So let's just go back to the website. So it's gonna be htd templates, right? howtocode.com, howtocode.pages.dev/htd underscore templates. It should be linked in right over here. All right, so try to visit that URL and grab the mouse handler template. So let's just paste this there. All right, and likewise replace these with points. So world state with point, and we're going to rename this PT like so. All right, so pause the video and try to work through the handled mouse solution. All right, so I'm gonna go over spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. So we have this signature next to the purpose. So when the mouse moves, produce the new point at where the mouse is at. All right. Otherwise, produce like the point itself. All right, so I'm not going to write that the case because it's, kind of self-explanatory here. All right, when the mouse moves, produce the new point at where the mouse is at. All right, so we're going to need to know what the other string events for the mouse is. So this is when we click something, we want this to react. So let's just go to documentation here. So there's mouse event, and let's see what the enumeration is for mouse events. So we have button down, which is, what we just saw, right? We're going to need probably something like move. And yeah, all right. So let's just write some examples and really sketch this out for us. Mouse. So given make point 0, 0, the point really doesn't matter here, right? Let's say the mouse is at, 123, right? That means that when we drag, right, we're dragging, right? We want to make a new point. We want to produce a point at that, wherever the mouse is, right? 123, like so. All right, likewise, if we're not doing anything, right? Let's say we're clicking, and let's say the mouse is at the point is at 40, 20, 32, right? And the mouse is at it should be at the same coordinates actually. All right. Because it means that we moved it there, right? So what happens when we click? Nothing, right? We just want to produce the same point back, like so, right? Likewise, if it moved somewhere, we just want to give the point back. If it's a click, if it's anything other than a drag, don't do anything with a given point, right? Just spit it back out. All right, so we know that we need to produce a point, so let's just stub this out by making these PT. I'm going to make a copy of this. Actually, I'll just stub it here, and then I'll start replacing the pieces. So PT, and then PT, and then just run it against our tests, like so. So just mismatches. What else? I think that was it. Mouse expects a mouse event as first argument given click. So click. Point. Mouse X. Click. So click was not it. It's called button down. Right, there is no click event here, my bad. So there you go. That's just one enumeration. Spelled it wrong. All right, so now we have just mismatches. All right, so now pause the video and try to work this on your own. This should be all the mental scaffolding needed to solve the problem. We'll go spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so we really only want to keep track of when the mouse is dragging, right? So drag. So when the mouse is being dragged, right, we want to update the point, right? So we're given a point. We don't really care about doing anything at that point, right? So the template for this function would be, you know, we maybe want to do something with the point x and y. So let me just space this down like so. And over here also, right? We might want to do something, but in this problem, we don't really care about the old coordinates of wherever the mouse was, wherever the old point was. We just want to say, hey, if you moved your mouse, that's where the new point is. So make a point of that. All right, so let's just do that. So let's make point. All right, and wherever the mouse x and mouse y is. So Big Bang is going to call this function with wherever the mouse x and the mouse y is. So let's just pass that on to the make point. All right, so make a point at where the mouse is in the x and y coordinate plane. Otherwise, if it's not the drag event, like let's say we're clicking around, or you know we're leaving, and etc., then don't do anything with that point. Just spit it back out. Right? If we're staying still, don't do anything to that point. So we run this function. There you go. All right. So both tests pass. All right. Now let's move on to the render function. All right. So pause the video and try to work through the render function on your own. I'm going to go for spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right. So I'm assuming that you guys took a good swing at it. So this job, the purpose statement of this function is going to be draw the point at the given points x and y coordinates on top of PG. All right, and it should be like formatted in, you know, this open parentheses, the x, and then comma, and then the y, like so. All right, so let me just double check the problem statement to make sure that's, so there's a space here, so it has to be formatted like so. All right, so this render function has to produce an image, so let's just make sure it does. Just stub it out like so. Now let's write some examples. All right, so render of make point, we'll say, you know, 400, we'll say 200, 200, like so, right? That means that we're gonna have to see a point something, you know, something like, so we'll say that this is 400 by 400. It has to be like, that would be the center in that case. But in this case, we're just going to make a place image of text, and we have to make it so that we do an x of 200, y of 200, and then text takes next argument as the text size. So I recall we made a constant for that, and then the text color. All right, and then next we have to, you know, where do we want to place it? Well, at 200, 200. And on top of the background. All right, let's do one more test for good measure. So let's say the coordinates are of the point is at, let's say, you know, 221. And then we'll say, you know, 256, like so. All right, that means that the text that should be displayed is the x coordinate right here, the y coordinate right there. So 256. There we go, at this position, right? When I draw this up, let me just copy and paste that. At the x of 321 and a y of 256. Right, so we run this, we should see what it looks like. And there's the point at 200, 200. This is like a 500 by 500 canvas, so we do have an extra, you know, 100 going down here. And 321 by 256 is roughly right there. All right, so those are just mismatches. So now let's grab the template, all right, the point template, and go over here, and we're going to comment out the stub, and going to call this render, and try to work through the solution on your own. All right, I'm going to go over spoilers in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so hopefully that should have been all the mental scaffolding needed to solve this problem. So let's see, looking at our examples here, we're going to need a place image. And we're going to need the X and Y multiple times, right? One for this right here, and then another for that, the X and Y. So we're going to need these 4 times, and you're going to see why. So we have to make a text of a string append of this, and then we're going to have to turn the X coordinate, right? It's a number. We have to turn that into a string. So we can use number arrow string and then give it the point dash X of pt. All right, right over here. All right, same with the Y. So, number dash string and then point dash Y of pt, like so. All right. And then next, the text argument needs the following arguments. All right, it needs the text dash size and then the text dash color. All right, so we want to place this image of a text, right, at the point X and Y of the given point on top of the background, like so. All right, so you can see that, even though the template mentioned that, hey, it's only one time here, right, you may need to use a field multiple times. Again, the template is just saying, hey, we're just laying out all the pieces, right? You may need multiple pieces, right? The same piece multiple times, but hey, it's a baseline nonetheless. So we run this code, it should pass all the tests. And let's see what happens here. It looks like I forgot to add the comma and then the space, right? So we're slowly getting there. It's differing, but it's looking closer. So in the middle here, I gotta add a comma and then a space, and that should be it. Like so. Oh, no, we're missing the parentheses. So the last parentheses over here on the right side. So let's just add that in, make sure we are in the right string append. So that's the string append. Now we're inside the string append, and we're going to add the closing parenthesis. All right, so now, there we go. Whoops, main, just run this again. So main of make 0.00. All right, so now, if we move the mouse like so, right, it should be drawing the coordinates along with, at the position of that coordinate. So notice I'm clicking and I'm dragging the mouse around, all right? So when I let go of the left click, it's not going to update like so, right? So let's fix that right now, all right? So I misread drag. Let's go back to what drag says in the documentation. So drag signals to that the computer user is dragging the mouse. A dragging event occurs when the mouse moves while a mouse button is pressed. So that, while a mouse button is pressed is the crucial part. We also just want it to move, right? So on move signals that the computer user has moved the mouse. So really, we can do another case here, right? We can copy this case down and then just change this to, let's see, what was it called? Move, and that would fix the problem, like so. So let me just run it. There we go. And right now I'm moving the mouse without clicking, but it also works when I'm clicking at the same time, all right? So both cases work. And notice how it's black because there's no test here for it. That's fine. We can add a test really quick. But let's merge this in with an OR here. All right, and then delete this like so. All right. Or, whoops. So let me see it. There we go. Control X. And then wrap this in OR. And then place that down like so. Now we won't need to write that test because now all the cases are covered, right? So there we go. But, we probably should, right? We'll say on move for this one. So it's the same as drag, just without the clicking. So do the exact same thing. So all the tests should pass. And that is mostly it for problem 8.6 tracker. Thank you for watching, human. If you wish to interact with more of your kind, join our Discord linked in the description or on screen. If you want to aid in my quest for world domination, consider hitting the sub button. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, thumbs down if you didn't. Any questions, comments, or suggestions, fire away below. Also, check out the annotations on screen for the next relevant video.